Alright guys, so let us start with our today's lecture. Now the last lecture we guys had discussed about Kafka, then we talked about microservices, we had discussed about these things. But today's lecture we are going to talk about some important topics that has to do with tools. So we have a separate section in our training which I have named that as tools training. See, every developer working in the company, they should be aware of these tools, how to use it during your development, right? And it's very, very crucial. Without these things, you can't even do the development. Now, why is that, sir? Let's see one by one. The very first thing is people should be having in-depth knowledge on Git and GitHub. In-depth knowledge on Git and GitHub. So I'll be taking 10 classes only on Git and GitHub. Now why is that? Because let's assume now in my team there are several team members, they are working remotely or from same location or remotely. Now this fellow is developer 1. Here this guy is developer 2, he is developer 3, and he is developer 4. All of them, they are working on one single project. Correct? They're all working on some project. It is one project. Everybody has to write the code. If it is I'm alone developing, I can do it in my system. Like how I'm doing it right now in classroom. I'm writing the code. I'm saving it in my system. Only I can access. But what happens in companies? All of these developers, the code they are writing it, they cannot keep it in the local computer. They need to store that in a centralized manner, like your Google Drive. If you keep your photos in Google Drive, you can access from anywhere. Imagine today you're using a mobile phone and you will now take photos that is stored in Drive. Even if your mobile is lost, you take a new mobile phone and log in with the same email ID. You will be able to see all your photos and contacts back. That's the advantage of storing it in the cloud in a centralized manner. So what happens in company is, let's say I have a project and I've given a task to the developer 1 to build login, right, feature. Login feature. So the developer 1 will open the laptop, develop the feature, how to log in, and after developing, he will push that code to GitHub. He will put that code to what? GitHub. Now once he pushes the code in GitHub, now that code can be accessed by all. How? See, I have my GitHub account here. So where I've kept all the notes, whatever training I'm going to give you, for that all the notes is visible here. Can you see that? Now we are doing some project in one batch. Then after that, JUnit, Mockito, Hibernate, Spring Boot, Payment Gateway, microservices, AWS, Spring Security, Kubernetes, things like that. All the soft copy of notes is kept here. This project is also kept here. Now this project is in GitHub. If I now basically take this particular project link like this, I take this link and if I now share it, okay, this link, if I now share it with this developer, then this developer will be able to download my project from GitHub via this link. So in his local computer, what he will do now, via this GitHub link, he will download the project in his local computer. So what happened? Login feature was developed by D1, but the D2 developer is downloading that login feature, and to that some extra features he's adding, like forgot password. He's working on what? Forgot password, right? Now he's developing forgot password, and while the other person D3 is now adding one additional feature to your login, that is you can log in with Gmail. We see many times login with Gmail, login with Facebook, things like that. So how are these people working in collaboration? Developer 1 writes the code, puts in GitHub. Developer 2 is able to now get that code, modify, add forgot password, and again he will put that back to GitHub. Developer 3 gets the code, works on modification of login feature, and again pushes to GitHub. While the developer 4 is a new developer. He has just joined the company. And now, whatever features are developed so far in the last few years, could be 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever development we have done, that complete project code, I have to give it to him so that I can explain the code. What has happened in the last few years and what work we are doing and what this project is all about. So again, when you join the company, the first thing that your manager will do is your manager will share a GitHub link, just like what I took it from here. This GitHub link, he will be sharing it with you, and you will have to set up the project in your system, set up the environment in your system with IDEs, configuration, softwares, whatever required. And once the project is configured, one senior person will then take you through the project code, and then slowly you start working on it. So this is one of the basic usages of GitHub, but there's a very vast syllabus. You'll be learning a lot of things here, like practicals when you're working in project. There are so many concepts you see here, like merge conflict, what is a PR, like some place student came few days back, right? In alumni meet, he said, I raise a PR and things like that. So what is this PR? What is merge request? What is cherry pick? Right? Okay. How do we use GitHub? What are the commands to use Git? How do I put my project code into Git? What are the things we should do it while working in the company? Scenario based questions, you will get it here, things like that, right? So all of these things I would be talking to you people in depth manner. And why GitHub? Because without GitHub, all you developers, you cannot work together. If you all have to work on a single project together, GitHub, right? And without GitHub, deployment also will not happen today. If you want to deploy your project to a server, the first thing is your project code has to be in GitHub. We will see that further. But did you all understand now why GitHub? Did you all understand this? Why GitHub? Yes, students, online students. It is just a centralized platform to store your code, and daily. Usually what happens in company, whatever code I write daily, before I leave the company, I have to put to GitHub and leave. I cannot keep that code in my local computer what I've developed. Reason, your laptop broke, laptop got stolen, something happened, your code is gone. So whatever coding you do it, always in company they tell before you leave in the evening, the code has to be in GitHub, then you will leave. And GitHub also gives us idea which developer is working on which feature, right? Let's say I want to fix a bug. There is a defect in my project. This developer is fixing. So firstly, your manager will tell, get the project code from GitHub. Now debug the code, find the bug, fix the bug, and then that code is again put that back to GitHub. But there are certain procedures, okay, which we will discuss in detailed manner. So everything that I'm going to teach you, I will keep the notes here, right? I'll keep the notes here. For example, if you go to repositories, what all things will be covered in GitHub, you can just type here git docker example git commands, right? So when you just visit here, you will observe the git commands. Like we are going to look at what are the advantages, what are the different types of uh, tools we have, just like GitHub. Some companies are using GitHub, somebody Bitbucket, ClearCase, SVN. These are different tools used for development to work in collaboration. You understood the meaning of collaboration? 5-6 developers are working on same project. So developer one, what code he is writing, other developer should be able to get that code, and his code when he pushes, other developers should get it. Collaboration. Then we are going to look at how to create a GitHub account, how to install Git, what is the difference between Git and GitHub. Then after that, we are going to look at what is working tree, staging. Like this, the topics will be divided. Then we look at the commands, what is init, status, add, commit, push, restore, git log, git rm, git clone, git pull, git GUI. Okay, then after that you go git fetch, git stash, git cherry pick. Like this, to cover this, some 10 classes I would be taking that up with practicals. But the theory notes is being kept here. I hope this part is clear, all of you now. Shall we proceed further? Okay, online students, shall we proceed further? Yes. Good. Now the next thing we'll look at JMeter. Now why as a developer today, JMeter, they might expect that you should know this. See, what happens is when you're working on any project, it is very important to understand the latency. How much time does it take for the response that we get from the application? Imagine this is my application, correct? Now this application, okay, I'm sending a request to it. To this application now, I'm sending a request to it. Now when I send a request, how much time it took to get the response back? But the catch here is I will not send one request. My customer might tell you need to send 1 lakh request and check what is the response time. How do I send 1 lakh request to an application? I cannot send that manually. I cannot keep 1 lakh people and tell now the time starts, type www.gmail.com. Now moment I start the timer, they'll enter www.gmail.com 1 lakh people. And then I'll tell moment you get the response, stop, calculate the time. I cannot do like that. What if I want to apply the load of 1 lakh people, 10 lakh people, 15 lakh people? How do I send this request? This load to be applied on a server is a virtual load, dummy load. What is it? A virtual load, which means I have to trigger 1 lakh request and calculate the response time. In order to do that now, we use a tool called as JMeter. JMeter will help you to apply a load on your server and calculate the time taken to get the response back, and for which JMeter concept becomes little important one for us. I hope this part is clear. Next thing. Now we are going to look at Docker. Why we should learn Docker. So this is again a very interesting tool, guys. Why we should learn Docker. What's the purpose of Docker? Let's see this here. Now let's assume I have developed a project, and this project that I've developed now, this code that I've developed now is working fine in my system. This code that I've developed is working fine in my system, which is working on Windows. Usually when you join companies, 99% they will give you laptops with Windows operating system. 99% you will get the laptops with Windows operating system. But when you deploy the application to a server, 90% of the time your servers will be Linux operating system, right? So whenever you try to deploy your application to a server so that people like you and me, we can access. For example, I'll go to AWS. I'll teach you how to create a server there. In that server, I will decide which operating system to keep. Now the operating system, most of the time in the servers we use Linux because that comes with the best performance and security. Like Windows, you will see Linux are kind of best in terms of what deployment. Now I'm taking this project code, and this project code I'm trying to deploy. In short, when I deploy this project code, the code is written in Java. So definitely I would require here firstly Java to be installed in Linux server. I'll have to install Java. Then I have some other things, some other versions, XYZ things. I'm using some database versions, this, some version, Java version, this, everything. So it is a configuration required to run that software, which in my laptop I have done that as a developer. I'm using Java 17 because my project code will not work below that thing. Java 17 minimum required. I'm using Spring Boot, certain versions of that. I'm using, let's say a Windows operating system, and it is working. But when this code is taken and deployed on Linux server, at times there are challenges that you will see that look, this particular project is not working. This particular project code is not executing. There is a breakdown, right? There is a breakdown. Now why there is a breakdown? Because there might be a platform mismatch. When I say platform, not just the software plus hardware, operating system, all three things forms a platform. Okay, what is the server configuration, what operating system you are using, and in that operating system what all things have you installed to run your project, which version of Java have you installed, which database are you using it, everything. there is a lot of version mismatch, and my code, because of that, it is not working. How do I resolve this now? Right? Because if this trouble I keep seeing it, then firstly I'll develop the code. I have to put in testing server, configuration mismatch. Then I'll take my code, I will put that into some UAT server, user acceptance testing, which we will all see that during our DevOps classes. It's not working. Then I need to put that into Linux. This will cause us trouble. So now what if I give you a solution to resolve this compatibility issue? You need not worry about the platform mismatch issues at all. I can simplify that for you. And that's where Docker comes in picture. What Docker says is, look, after you write the code, you just use a Docker concept. Okay, you just use a Docker concept and you prepare something called as a Docker image. Use a Docker concept and prepare a Docker image. Now this Docker image is something which is platform independent. Now I can take this Docker image, I can deploy this project on Windows server, Mac server, Linux server, and you need not worry about basically platform mismatch. That compatibility problem is resolved, and also the deployment is faster. So now as a developer, we should know how to create a Docker file. Are you understanding? As a developer, you should know how to create a Docker file, and as a DevOps engineer, we should know how to use this Docker file and do the deployment. Are you understanding? Yes. Are you all getting this, guys? So now look at that. Here we guys are going to now focus on basically the concept that is all to do with how a Docker image is created and why Docker image should be created, because it gives us platform independent concept. Did you all understand this now? Abhishek and other people, did you understand? I don't want the breakdown of my software to happen because of compatibility issue. So we create a Docker image. Arey Baba, simple. Imagine you have a file in your system. Okay, one Word file is there. Word file you took. You copy that Word file in Linux. It might not open. It might not open in Linux. Why? Because Linux does not have MS Office. That is missing. In my system, MS Office was there. I could open up basically this, but in Linux, I don't have it. This document opening software is not there. So what you will do now? There's a compatibility issue. Now you will download some software not working, some other software not working, some other software. No. Finally, you got a software. So shifting your Word file from your local system and opening in Linux is a compatibility issue. But what if now I take this Word file and put it inside something called as a Docker? Example. That's not the place where Docker is used. I'll put that file. Now this Docker is such that use Docker inside which there is a file. That file will open in Linux, Unix, Windows, Mac, all operating systems. Some general example. So whatever code you develop, that code has to work everywhere. And that code to work everywhere, right? That compatibility problem to be resolved, we use Docker. And Docker makes your deployment faster. You can directly run this Docker and that will deploy application. Application is within Docker. That directly runs the application, does the deployment. Are you understanding? Yes, no. Firstly, there is no Docker concept covered here in BTM layout. Right? Docker concept is nowhere covered in BTM layout. Firstly, I don't know about other places. BTM layout, I know. Okay? So Docker concept will be missing. And this is something you should be aware of as a developer. Let's continue further. Everyone now clear? Now clear? Understood now? Yeah? You will not understand 100%. How is it possible? Am I writing code? Am I teaching you? See, when I teach you Docker, I will have a systematic approach. When I go to GitHub, observe here in GitHub, I have a repository here. I have a repository here. I'll type Docker, refresh, scroll down, Docker notes. There are so many things related to Docker. I will teach you here step by step. I will explain things. I just explained compatibility problem. Later we will see what is Docker, containerization, Docker engine containers. Then we will see, right, how to install a Docker, correct? Then after that, how to install Docker on Linux. See, we will create one Amazon Linux server. I will teach you how to install Docker on your Linux server. Then We are going to here later look at some Docker commands. Then after that, so like this is a systematic approach. And when you see practically, only you will understand the things later. Is this clear? Yeah. Are you understanding? So like this, for every content that I will teach now, the notes are predefined in GitHub. 30,000 lines of notes has been prepared there. So getting job is not like how these academies they tell, day one I will give you placement. It might sound good for some of the beginners because they want immediate placements, and that is where we will take the advantage of that. Will you give me interview day one? Yes, day one interview given. Till every day attend the interview and experience the interview. That is the tagline you will get. Experience the interview. Correct? So you have to understand, interview cracking in first day is impossible. You don't even know anything. Okay? And after you don't clear interviews, then they'll tell you could not clear interview. What shall I do? Your mistake. Then you will apply, no reply. Yes or no? Then after 7 months, they will tell course validity is over. I don't know who you are. So have patience. My course is lengthy. It will take time. But only when you are prepared, you will get results. Is this clear? Everyone, let's now continue further with the next thing. Right? Now the next thing we guys are going to discuss about the next important tool, that is called as Jira. Now see how the tools picking we have done it, keeping in mind exactly what companies are using it. Now why Jira? When you join the company, you should now get the requirement that what features you have to develop. There are defects in your project. Where are these defects reported? From where the defects I have to pick and start working on it. I'm using some process to build the software like Agile, right? Some development process I'm following. Let's say there are 5 developers. Now, which developer is working on which feature development in the project? Which bug, who is fixing it? Correct? Are we following a process? Like when we construct a building, we follow a process. We first do the site measurement. In simple term, survey, we call that as digital survey. Then after the digital survey, we will go ahead. Then we will firstly create a design of it. Then after that, we will do structural engineering for that. For these many floors, how much steel is required, how many pillars are required, what is the size of pillars and columns. Then the soil testing was already done. We do excavation, right? Then we put a proper footing for it. Then the building construction starts. Yes or no? Then the building construction, that's the procedure you follow, right? First you will, client will give the requirement to architect, architect will understand. So step by step you will go. Development also like that only. So now when there are some requirements you have to work on, customer says I want a form, on submission, one WhatsApp message should go. There is some requirement. Where are those requirements kept? So you will have access to Jira in the company. In Jira, there will be task, and that task allocation is what you need to work on. That task allocation is what you need to work on. Is this part clear? Is this part clear, guys? Please tell me. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Everyone? Yeah? Any doubts, any questions, people they have got so far, please tell me. So this whole thing, tomorrow when testers they report a defect, that defect will be in Jira. And from here developers has to pick. So we should know how to use this. Otherwise tomorrow you'll join the company. This tool itself is very new. You will not even know, right? That how to allocate a task to me, how Jira is working, what is Agile, nothing you will know. So there's a separate training I'll be giving it to you on this. See, simple Baba, this is something to do with a project management tool. Okay? Like how Jira will work is, see, I'll show you one image. Hold on. Let's go to Jira. Let's go to Jira. People who have some doubts. I'll go to Jira login. Let me try to log in. Right? This is by a company called as Atlassian. Okay? Now let me log into Jira. Fine, sign in. Satyam. Now see, this is a tool. Okay, I log in with Gmail. Let me log in with what? Gmail. Okay, let me log in with some account. Some account I'm logging in with. Now I will click on continue. Okay, now I've logged into Jira dashboard. Okay, now here complete project requirements will be kept. Like I just want to get started with the project management. Let's get started. Let's get started. with the okay project management. Let's take it some name, it's giving it. Now company will have, this is a free account which I'm using it. So this tool, there is a task, there are tasks that will be broken down and kept, that this time in this version of the software I'm going to add video calling, I'm going to add voice calling, I will add, you know, uh, 15 forwards that can be done in WhatsApp. I will add a task here. Are you understanding now? I will add a task here now. Okay, like this all the tasks I will add up. Now each task the developer has to pick from here and start developing. Now when they say video calling should happen, so they'll give you now that, you know, for, you know, this video calling only 2 people can join, right? There is no group video calling that is allowed here. The video calling can be recorded, like this they will be telling you. Now go to Jira. Okay, so here there will be a task complete. You'll not understand this now, I'm giving an overview. So your Jira dashboard will look like this. Your Jira dashboard will look something like this. So here, which developer is working on which task, there is a defect here, how that defect is been allocated, everything is been seen here. Is this clear? Now how to use this particular thing is what we have to understand. Okay, so get started. I'll just say not problem, get started. Okay, now observe here, you will have something here, the board, things like that, and here all things will be given. The example task, can you see that here, the to do task? So now you see that there's a task here that's been given. So this is just a assignment. See now it is unassigned. Okay, so we will assign this task to someone. We'll assign this task to someone. Your lead will assign, telling that let me assign this task to so and so developer. And now the developer has to work on that feature development. Task assigning. Task assigning. Is this clear? It is to do with task assigning. Is this clear? Work type. So we have got here C. Epic and all, it comes in your agile process. We will discuss about these things. Add the work type. Let's say task. I will now tell that develop video calling feature. Video calling feature. Okay. No group calls are allowed. Fine. And you will create a task. Can you see that here now? One task creation will be done. Okay. Can you see that here? Now what you will do? You will log into Jira. Now you will click on this task and you will assign it. We will assign it. Assign to me. See, now this is assigned to me. Meaning now, okay, I will be working on this task now. So now I will take that feature. I'll start doing the coding there. So like this, so many tasks will be present for the project development to happen. Features that we have to develop, that all will be given here. Are you understanding now? Yeah. Able to now get at least a small idea about it. A small idea about it. See? So there are now say some task been given, who is working on what, everything we will be looking at it, but not the time to learn this, because definitely this will be difficult somewhere in between. If I start something, how will you understand? I'm just giving an overview of it, why we should learn Jira. So tomorrow you will cross question any trainer. Will you train us on Jira? Will you train us on Agile? You will have that potential to cross question. Today what's happening is, will you teach us on full stack? Yes. Job guarantee? Yes, 100%. Can I attend interview from day one? Yes. Counseling over. Yes or no? We don't want this to happen. Is this clear? Right? So let's be aware of it with common sense, that why we should study, what's the necessity of it. How many tools we have talked about so far? Got it? And without Jira, you will not even know from where to pick the bug. There is some defect in the software, developer has to fix the defect, from where to pick the defect, which features we have to develop, from where to pick that up, all that we will not know. Okay? Now, we are going to discuss about JUnit. We are going to discuss about JUnit, Mockito and Jacoco. So it's very important that as a developer, when I write any code, when I write any code, I need to test that code. Example, I have a code here. Now this code here generates, does some tax calculation. Tax what? Calculation. Right? So there is a complete logic written down for tax calculation. Okay. So now what I want to test this logic. I want to test this code. So there are two types of testers. One is black box testers who has no knowledge of coding. What they do, you give them login page. They just open the login page, enter username, password, click on submit, error, take the error, go to Jira, report error, done. Now they really don't know why this error occurred, which part of the code this error has occurred, where was the flaw in the code. No, they don't know. They just open up the UI, user interface, www.gmail.com, enter username, enter password, click on login, application crashed, bug. They'll go to Jira, tester will go to Jira, report a bug. Once the defect goes to Jira, developer has to pick that defect from Jira and start working on it to fix it. There is a procedure how to pick a bug, how the defect is been allocated, that all we will be seeing it. But now let's say I want to test this code, not the UI. Testing of code to be done. I want to test the code that has been developed. That testing of code is called as white box testing or unit testing. White box testing, or it is called as unit testing. What is it called as? It is called as unit testing or white box testing. Are you understanding now? Yes. So here now what happens is I want to test this. So I will provide some input. I will provide some input, and this code after running it will produce some output. I need to check the output produced by the code. Is it correct? Is it correct? Yes or no? Yes or no? But now when you test this tax calculator, you might not test with one input. How can I do testing only with one input? I'll now give, let's say 10 lakhs. Now there is some income tax slab. 10 lakhs income tax slab, let's say some 20%. Example. I'm not talking about the current tax slab, 20%. So now it has to calculate for 10 lakhs, 20% income tax, what all deductions you have taken, some investments you have done, some deductions taken, or let's say 10 lakhs directly tax calculation, 20% it has to do. Is this working properly? Now let's say I'll enter my input as 1 lakh, then it should tell tax calculation 0. I'll enter 50 lakhs, it should give me tax calculation for that. I'll enter 1 crore, it should give me tax calculation for that. Yes or no? See, please understand now. Please understand. We are testing the code here line by line. How is it working? By giving the input. And every time I give the input, some lines of code are executing and some are not executing. Now, when I give the input as 10 lakhs, the logic to apply 20% tax code is executing. But the logic to apply 5% tax is not executing. So there is no 100% testing happening. There is no 100% testing happening. You give input as 10 lakhs, it's calculating 20%. I give input as 5 lakhs, then it should calculate income tax at the rate of 5%. So my logic to calculate 5%, 20%, 10%, 30%, they're all different. I have to test all that logic. Testing is not about just you give one input, get the output and done. Testing is all about you give different inputs and check the logic at the code level. Are you understanding now? Testing done at the code level requires JUnit. That's why you notice one of the placed candidates in alumni meet, he said that look, you first when you join the company, they will tell you to write JUnit test cases. The work starts from here. Many times in the company when you join for the first time, they'll expect you to write this JUnit test cases. That's how the work will happen in company when you join initially. Now this JUnit test cases that I'm talking about now, when you write, there are a lot of things I have to take care of. One, when I do testing, I have to provide dummy data. I cannot do testing with real data. When they invented vaccine, corona vaccine, they did not try on human beings directly. They did a dummy testing. There were stages. Then they tried on some monkey. Correct. Then after that something happened. Then they tried on people. Yes or no? You cannot directly do testing with real data. Let's say I'm testing a payment gateway. Will you do a real money transaction and test? You'll do a dummy transaction. Yes or no? Will you do real transaction or dummy transaction? So this testing of code is called as unit testing, for which we will use JUnit tool. To supply dummy data for testing, we will use Mockito. Are you understanding? That's what a mock. Mock is dummy. Like you give mock interview. Some students come and ask, will you take mock interview, which is nothing but dummy, which is nothing but what? Dummy. And that's called as what? Mock interview. That's called as mock interview. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the mock interview here, we are talking about mock interview. Same way here it is Mockito. Mockito supplies dummy data for testing. So how do I supply dummy data for testing? Using Mockito. JUnit for unit testing, Mockito for dummy data, and then we have Jacoco. How much percentage of code testing is done? If I have 10 lines of code, my testing is done only on 5 lines, which means my testing coverage is 50%. Out of 10 lines, 5 lines tested, 5 line testing is not done. So coverage is how much? 50% did not test. How much percentage of your code testing is done? Because in reality, in projects, do you think 5-6 lines of code will be there? Hundreds, no, thousands and thousands of lines of code will be there. And we need to ensure that all of these lines of code testing that we are doing, how much percentage of testing is happening? Are you understanding? If you're not able to understand, listen, please don't sit in my class. You can get up and leave from here. I will not take such admissions here. Are you understanding? Don't even waste your time, my time. I'm very clear on this. Okay? Is this clear? Don't even sit in the class. If you're not able to understand what I'm talking about, you cannot get a job. It's a simple thing. Okay? My lectures is of no use. You can better try something else in your life. Okay? You have to be fully focused. This is not some joke, fun or anything. Getting a job, it's a very tough journey. Okay? And a very serious journey. Fine? So no sleeping. Are you understanding? Yeah? No sleeping. I find next time anyone here just trying to sleep, please go out of the class. Don't join my batch. It's okay. I lose that admission, but that will not make me poor. I'm already quite rich. Nothing to worry. Okay? Are you understanding? So we will not call your one-to-one and go and talk to you. What are you doing? How are you? Why you did not come to class? Nothing will happen. Okay? Be very serious. Is this clear? Yes? You have to stay focused and listen. Fine? Serious job it is. This is not some comedy. Getting job is so easy, do you think? Never. Be full serious. Okay. Now, let's look at here now. How do we test the code? Testing of coding to be done, we will use JUnit. Mockito is used for supplying dummy data for testing. And Jacoco will tell how much percentage of code coverage has happened. So we'll have to see this in practical. 10 classes I will take on JUnit. It's a very tough concept, but we will simplify. Okay. I'm sure when you start attending our JUnit classes, you will get to know, okay, what exactly we are doing here. Is this clear, everyone? Yes. Everyone clear with this part? What all tools are covered? Fine. Okay. So I think now this is enough for today. Otherwise, it'll cause confusions. Right? We'll stop here for today. I want you people to just revise these things and again come back the next class, that is tomorrow. Because next class I'll talk about Kubernetes. And that's kind of little tricky to understand. That why we should learn Kubernetes. Okay. Now this syllabus is already present in your website. Are you understanding now? In your website, this is already what present. Is this clear, everyone? Yes, it's already there in your website. Full 42 pages syllabus is there. If you go to pankajsaracademy.in, it is already present. Okay, and I'm telling, take a wise decision. I always tell that. Okay, and if you start something, you finish that neatly. And if you have come here all the way to Bangalore to take the classes, then you have to be serious about what is your aim. It's a tough journey. A small deviation, right? A small deviation from what you are doing it, you will fail. All right? Yeah. And see, it's like I lose one admission, I might not lose anything, but you lose getting a job. There is a lot of things you have lost in your life. The hopes, the confidence, your further life, how you're going to lead. Everything is going to break down. Correct? Yes or no? Yeah. And see, my profession as a trainer, which you're talking about, is not the only profession. I'm big time into real estate. Okay. So that's why my display name you tend to see different. Yeah. So there are hundreds of units. Basically, we are basically what? Giving it on rentals to the companies, not one or two. So I'm not going to lose anything. It is you the one, when you're not serious, you will lose it. If you are not the one serious, you will lose it. Okay. So please be very, very serious, very, very serious about it. Okay. Right. So this is how my projects goes on. So completely we give it off to the companies. Got it. So 30, each things when I started, it's almost near about 30, 40 units. We start giving it. So for me, it's nothing. See, one building I give it for rent. It's one building itself will fetch me 9 lakhs. 1 CR a year. I'm not going to lose anything. I'm serious about my profession. I want my students to be serious about what they are doing. Yeah. So this is my business. This is basically my passion. What I'm dealing with you. Be serious. Don't take it in a light way. Don't do that. Don't take it in a light way. So I have projects going on in almost top areas where IT companies are. You look at Tech Mahindra Electronic City Phase 2, you look at Whitefield, you look at Sarjapura Road, you look at HSR layout, and people who don't sleep in my class, I directly send them home. Can we be serious from tomorrow? Yeah? Okay. Question bank, I'll be sharing it with you. Don't worry about that one. And let's go step by step. Don't hurry. Because let's make the things interesting, guys. Let's not make the things which is like kind of boring. We have a standard structure, 6.5 months. I will cover your syllabus. I will cover your syllabus very nicely and I'll give it to you. Getting 3-5 interview calls in a week is not a challenge. You will get 3 to 5 interview calls quite easily. Do not worry about that. Is this clear? Yeah. So getting 3 to 5 interview calls should not be a challenge for you guys. Why am I stopping here is because uh, Kubernetes is tough, and if I now start midway, you will all get confused. We need to understand that slowly. It has many features in that. We'll have to see that. Because tomorrow's concept will be a little tough. Kubernetes, CI/CD pipeline, Jenkins, Maven. So we'll have to start slowly. These are the 4 things I will cover together. What is Maven? What is Jenkins? Kubernetes? How about a CI/CD pipeline? How does it work? Things like that. Okay. See you then, guys. Tomorrow I will share the link in your chat group.